so champion parents, how do you handle when a teacher, a church member, family member has shared some not so pleasant news about your child? How do you handle that as a champion parent?
Yeah, how to handle hearing difficult news about your child as relates to other situations too. Yeah, so that's the question. You can call in at 313-837-1340 and give us your point of view
Yes.
and help us elaborate on this topic.
Yes. Yep. Whether it's behavior, situational, academics, anything.
Yeah,
How
this
do you
is
handle it? What do you think, ladies?
yeah. So this is Dr. Pert. So I remember going to a parent-teacher conference and hearing some news, and it was, oh, the young boy that's sitting next to your daughter, he's always kicking her. And that right there just sent, I was really upset by that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, one, you're just telling me now at parent teacher conference, but then two, it made me go home and talk to my daughter to figure out, what's going on. I didn't want to come to a conclusion. I wanted to investigate the situation first. So what I did was, I asked her questions because maybe that was a way of them playing with one another. So I think as a champion parent, when we hear some unpleasant news, I think it's important to investigate the
Yes.
situation.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So did you ask, what's it, TT?
I
What did you
did.
ask her? Did you ask her why she didn't tell you that?
I don't know why she didn't tell me. She
She's so
really
sweet,
could.
too.
She really couldn't articulate why she did not. But we did talk about it, and I explained the importance of, you have to set boundaries for yourself, and then sometimes you have to show that through your actions. So next time somebody put their hands on you, you have to do something about it. And she listened to her mother, who is a champion at parenting, and that situation, it was over. We nipped that in the bud really.
How long had it been occurring, though, before you heard about it?
That, you know what? That's a good question. That right there, I didn't really ask, but it was just like, my main concern was that it just needs to stop.
Yeah.
And so after, I talked to her about the situation, and we both came to the consensus, like, okay, if somebody put their hands on you, you defend yourself whether you scared or not.
Wumpty whoomp.
Yeah, and that's
Definitely,
it.
'cause you do.
It just
Boundaries
stopped.
are important.
Yeah, it stopped. It actually stopped immediately.
Right, because as it should. But yeah, boundaries are
No,
important.
TT.
Yeah, really, because you get concerned about, because it's cause and effect, But at the end of the day, when you teach your children, to have expectations for themselves and to set
Yes.
boundaries,
Yeah.
and, teach people how to treat them, because that's very important. People will allow you to, help
Like
me out
demean
here.
yourself or not cause you disrespect if you allow them to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've learned that, and I'm continuing to learn that as an adult, because you just, you go back and you monitor, and you just look at different relationships in your your personal life, family or friends, and you just notice the ones, once you learn yourself and begin to love yourself and then know how to have boundaries with people, you learn how to deal with people who are not necessarily respecting your boundaries, because boundaries are very important.
Yes.
Even if it's your mom, your dad, an older auntie.
Pastor.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
some people don't want to respect your boundaries, but it's
Yeah.
very important that you set those boundaries, because that's just a matter of respect.
Yeah, that's very important. So at the end of the day, basically what we're trying to say is you have to teach people how to treat yourself, as well as, teach your children how to, teach people how to treat them.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, Seth and Caleb growing up, I used to always tell them, obey adults. Don't talk back. Because I guess, me being a single parent and raising them, I always wanted them to be respectful young men, and always, be respectful and, just not necessarily cause any discourse or whatever. But when they became teenagers and, they're like close to like 18, I was like, wait a minute now, y'all got to start speaking up for yourselves. Like you can still listen to adults, but you have to learn how to voice your opinion. And do it,
Absolutely.
do it in a respectful way, But you have opinion, and if you have a certain type of feeling, it's okay to communicate that.
That
Yes.
is.
Yeah. So I think I more so kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say it was wrong for me to rear it, but I wish I would have told them to be more vocal
And
about
advocate for themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Even though they learned, but it took them a little bit longer because I just wanted them to be respectful and young men. But it's not necessarily them not being respectful for advocating for themselves, but it's just, I don't know, just something maybe I just learned how to become better at parenting.
But it also, even with you telling them to respect adults, they may also in that learn not to overreact in certain situations. So you might look at it as it taking them a little bit longer when actually they may be practicing or learning self-restraint,
Yeah,
and
you're
how
right.
to control. So, we're talking about how do you handle when you hear any type of negative news about your child. And one of the things that we all need to do as parents when we hear any type of, it could be anything, we always have to process what's going on and always analyze the situation and determine. Sometimes you have to determine whether it's true or not,
That is
or
so true.
Yeah.
Consider the source. Who is it coming
consider-
from?
Yes.
Who is it coming from?
Yeah, and then we all know our children. We don't want to,
Yeah.
deem our children as angels, but we all
Right.
know our children
Right,
and
like
what they're
I'm putting them
capable of
past
doing.
my child, but
Yeah. However, that may not sound like Seth or Caleb or Lisa or TT. It may
Yeah.
not sound like them. Or that's
or
definitely
Layla.
them. I said Layla.
You said Lisa.
Oh, my bad, Layla. And you know what? I was just talking about.
That's okay, little Lisa.
I was telling my friend about how Layla, when she was 5, and she's pointing to Seth and Caleb, but I go, that's Seth and Caleb, that's Seth and
It's
Caleb.
just one name,
Right?
right?
She both thought they
Two
both the same
kids, one name.
Right.
Yeah, but thank you. Thank you, Miss April, and then also thank you, Dr. Pert. That consider the source. It's so funny because I used to always, and I still say it every now and again, but I used to always say that you have to consider the source because sometimes people get so worked up when people come to them with certain information. And so I always tell my daughter, don't put yourself in a situation also for the messy people to come back and change the story around.
I feel you.
Don't put yourself in that situation.
Like E40 say, why you always coming around me with bad news?
Help Liberace when I lose. Oh, Liberace. Look, I'm trying to. I don't know no lyrics, but I'm trying.
Yeah, and I think it's so important when you consider that source. It's very important who you let your child be around, whether it be a
Yes.
family member,
Yep.
friend, or even a teacher, or going to some extracurricular activity. It's just very important.
Because they can be haters too. I'm
Yes,
telling you.
like
Old
why are
haters,
you
young
telling me
haters.
this information? So it's very important to analyze the situation and just really listen to the facts. And it's very important to fact find. Like, okay, I heard your side of the story. Now, before I overreact, let me hear my child's
Yes,
version of
that's
what
right.
happened.
Yes. Yes, yes. Hey, welcome to Mommy Talk.
Hey,
Hey, what's
Hey,
up?
how are you?
hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
How are you?
Good, good. I just want to give shout out to thank you for doing what y'all doing. This is like a sensitive topic, how to handle difficult information about your child.
Amen.
Like, yeah.
What you think the proper protocol should be?
To handle difficult situations? I say, sometimes you got to be there, but sometimes they got to learn on their own. I feel like self-taught is the best taught.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind of like the experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I like that
That's
too.
true.
I like that
In some cases.
too.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Awesome points.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank
Have a
you
good
so
evening.
much for your support.
Yes. Yeah, and that's something, and that's so true. Even if, so when the difficult news comes to you about your child, even if it's true, sometimes you still have to analyze it, and then you have to ask your child, because we need to ask them, how do they feel. We need to consider their feelings, because we need to understand what, why are you getting the grades that you're getting, or why are you exhibiting this type of behavior, or
responding
why
to
did
a
you respond?
situation.
Yes, or why did you respond that way? We have to ask, and we have to consider. And sometimes as parents, I listen, I get it, because I've heard something about both of my kids, and I'm ready, to say, whoa, why would you do that? And it's like, nope, hold on, wait a minute.
And sometimes they may feel like they responded in
Yeah,
an
in
appropriate
an
way.
appropriate way.
But
Yes.
then, but it probably wasn't. And that's
Right.
when it's up to us to come in and explain, how they can handle the situation where it could be a win-win for both parties. And that's one of the things I try to teach my children. And that's one of the things I try to teach the children at the school, like, wait a minute, is somebody asking you something wrong? Let's analyze the situation like you said,
Yeah.
and let's talk about it, and then let's think about what would be a win-win situation for yourself
trying to
as
penetrate
well
their
as the
soul.
other person.
Right. OJ did it. Hey, caller, welcome to Mommy Talk.
Hey, it's K Dizzy.
Hey,
Hey, how
what's
are
up?
you?
Hey, I'm calling in to shout out Mommy Talk.
Hey,
What up, what up,
that's
what up?
Nice.
Hey, what up, what up, what up?
Hey.
Man, I missed y'all.
Oh,
missed you
That's
too.
nice. We miss you.
Where you been?
Man, with Caleb.
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's all right. Y'all out there changing the world, right?
Changing the world for the mommies, you know what I'm
Hey.
Okay,
Nice.
okay.
You know what
Nice.
I'm saying? Looking out, looking out.
Oh, appreciate it. Yes, Mr. K
Yeah.
Dizzy in his house.
K Dizzy, do you have a champion parent?
Yeah, I got 2 champion parents. Well, actually 3.
Oh,
Okay.
that's nice.
Okay, nice.
One is sitting there right with y'all.
Nice.
Okay, good,
They're
good,
my
good.
biological ones, but I mean, I can add another 2. If y'all willing.
Hey, we
Okay.
got you. Yes.
That's nice.
Y'all got me.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
are
all got
family.
Mm-hmm.
We are one in the
Alright.
spirit. Amen.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling,
Thanks
K
for
Dizzy.
calling.
Have a good evening.
Okay. You too.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so after we analyze, after we have taken all the information in, we analyze it, then comes a solution. How do you have to come up with a solution together on how to better communicate, educate yourself and your child, right?
Yeah, I think that's really important. And so I think with any situation that occurs, any problem, you have to ask yourself, what outcome do I want?
That's
and
right.
what are the steps and actions do I need to take that's going to help me get there?
That's right.
And I think as a parent, those are 2 important questions that you have to ask your children. What's the outcome?
Yes.
And do you feel like taking action A or taking action B will get you there?
Yes. And champion parents, please understand if it's a situation that you're not familiar with, what do you have to do? You have to get familiar. That's like we talk about the village. If you feel like you don't have a lot of close friends and family, do it. Miss Kim Whitley, she created her village within her friends.
Yep.
And what was the movie, the Single Moms Club? They created somewhat of a village, a support system.
Right, within
Because they
their
are,
school, yeah.
That's right, because they were all in need of the same thing.
Right. So PTSA, I know I was really active when my sons were in elementary and middle school, the PTSA group. So they really have a lot of resources to help you get acclimated.
Now, what's the PTSA?
Oh, LSCO. Which one is it?
Well,
the
I know
parent-
that's a LSEO, but I never
The parent
heard.
board.
Oh, okay.
That's PTSA, right?
Oh, PT, what is it?
Or is it
Parent-
LSCO?
Yeah, I know it is LSEO.
Well, they changed the names. It's
the
basically the
liaison
parent.
group.
Right,
yeah,
it's a parent group.
organization.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the parent group. So some
Okay.
people call it PTSA, and then it changed to LSCO, but it's all the same thing. It's basically the parent group
Okay.
within a school. So as Miss Lisa was saying, with the network and creating a village, that's a good village for you to join and get acclimated, not only with your child's school, but just get acclimated with other parents who may be facing similar situations.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes when we find out, information about our children that's unpleasant, we don't want the world to know. We don't want to expose them. And sometimes we don't know how to handle the situation, but it really is okay to find somebody that you can confide in, or, even if you put it in a way where you're not saying that it's your child, you're just creating a scenario like, well, what would you do if this was your child, or if you were put in this situation? And you just never know. When you start opening up and talking to people, you'll find out like, hey, we have this in common. I'm experiencing this issue with my child, and let me tell you some of the steps that I took. And then I know, that's when they'll probably direct you to somebody else like, hey, they had the same issue and this worked for them. So I think it's important, if you don't know the answer, not to stay ignorant. It's better to find somebody that can help you solve any problems or issues.
That's
Yeah,
true.
education is important.
That's right.
It
Bottom
is.
line, parents, you are not alone. You don't have to be alone.
You have
You
a lot
know.
of resources such as Mommy Talk, and we do have a
Hello.
lot of resources on our websites
Yes.
to help with different situations and circumstances that you may face.
Yes.
So there's a lot of resources available.
And you know what? I also want to say, as parents, when we hear something about our child, it may be best to put a comma on it, not to address it right then and there, because you
child.
might have to get your thoughts together and think about what you want to say.
I think that is
Before you say
really
it.
best, Dr. Perkin. I'm happy
Yeah.
that you brought that up, because sometimes we can overreact. I know I can. I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, this has to be handled right now. But I have learned just to walk away from it and then
Yeah.
revisit it.
Yeah.
Because, you do have to control your emotions.
So, yes, parents. So we have covered ways to handle hearing difficult situations about your child. Always analyze the situation, consider the source, take it in. Work together to find a workable solution. If you're not educated on the matter, educate yourself. Educate you and your child.
Thank you for listening to Mommy Talk, the champions of parenting. And remember, you too can be a champion of parenting. Continue to support and love your children. For additional information, you can contact us at info@mommytalk.com or visit our website at www.mommytalk.com. We can also be found via social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mommy Talk Network. Please listen to us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on WCHB Detroit's Gospel Station.
Come talk to us.